Danny Gilfillan for Boxing News. Delighted to have with me esteemed Cutman Russ Abner here this week, very much a part of Team Oleksandr Usyk as he rematches Daniel Dubois this weekend. Russ, pleasure to meet you. Thanks for the time. First thing I want to ask you, having spent so much time around Oleksandr, why run it back with Daniel Dubois? Fans say he's already beat him, he's completed boxing. What motivates Oleksandr to take this rematch with a young, hungry contender who's in the form of his life?
Look, I think the fact that he gets a shot at getting undisputed again, which I think he should still be undisputed, but I think that's probably the main motivation. Usyk is very concerned about his legacy and about what he does in the boxing game, and I think he wants to be undisputed again. I think they wronged him by taking away his title from him after he won it and became undisputed. Now he's got to go back out and win it again. And fairness to Dubois, he's made great strides and improvements since the fight with Usyk. So I think this creates a new buzz and a new interest.
Absolutely. What's the viewpoint from Team Usyk on what Daniel Dubois has done since? He's had an incredible 3-fight win streak. People in the sport think they see a new confidence in him. Is the team expecting a different Daniel Dubois to the one that Oleksandr faced in Poland?
Yeah, you have to be. I think the first time was an unknown territory for him. It's no longer an unknown territory. Dubois is no longer an unknown territory for Usyk as well. So I think it goes both ways. But we're very cognizant of what he's done. And if he hasn't built his confidence after the run he's been on, he's never going to build his confidence. So for sure he's built his confidence, and rightfully so.
Team Dubois have been pretty vehement in their attempt to ruffle some feathers. The low blow has been brought up on several occasions. The launch press conference took place here. There was a lot of words exchanged between Oleksandr's team and Don Charles, the son. Oleksandr's been in the game a long time. Almost feels like a silly question, but has that got under his skin at any level?
I doubt anything gets under. If Tyson Fury couldn't get under Usyk's skin, I don't think anybody's getting under Usyk's skin. And I saw the comments from Don Charles, and I guess maybe from my generation, where I come from, what I've learned over the years and the fighters I've been around, it's one thing to have the fighters trash talking each other and having the exchange going on, because they have to face each other once the bell rings. But when you start getting managers or trainers or promoters trash talking directly to fighters, I think that just, that's probably a line that should be drawn, because when the bell rings, you go down the steps, you don't stay in the ring. So that's just me.
You talked a bit earlier about Oleksandr's obsession with his legacy and how he'll be remembered in the pantheon of heavyweight greats and boxing greats in general. Having those conversations with him, how long do you anticipate Oleksandr to carry on? He doesn't seem, from the fans' eye, from our eye, to be slowing down at any extent, but it's almost a case of who's left for him to fight, what's left for him to achieve if he does become undisputed. I know the focus will be, of course, fully on Daniel Dubois this weekend, but how long do you think Oleksandr can carry on for?
Well, that's a great question. We were discussing that yesterday, as a matter of fact, on when does a fighter age, and sometimes you see it in fights. You see the guy not be as good as he was the previous one, or you see different changes. We haven't seen any evidence of that so far in Usyk, and I think, if we base it on the second Fury fight, was actually, maybe a better and more dominant performance than the first fight, so he actually improved. So he's showing no signs of it. How long he'll go on, that's a question for Usyk himself. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that every time he steps in the ring, he's got everything to lose and nothing to gain, because he has dominated the best of the division. It's not that he dominated a division that was empty and that there was nobody there. He dominated the best twice, in two weight categories. So, there's something special that drives this guy. And, I'm glad guys like you and other people are taking the advantage of recognizing just how great this guy is, because you don't see this kind of talent every day. Yeah.
You mentioned Tyson Fury there. He's still technically retired, but he has come out publicly and said a trilogy fight with Oleksandr Usyk is something he would very much be interested in. He feels he was hard done by on both those occasions. Oleksandr in the past has, despite being 2-0 up in the trilogy, said, we can run it back. Is that something you could see happening?
First of all, I don't know if it's me or if I'm right on this or not, but when we speak of trilogy, the trilogy means each guy has won a fight, and then there's the third fight is the trilogy of the 3 fights that happen to determine who the better man is and who's the winner of this trilogy is. You don't have a trilogy when one guy is up. All you have is a third fight. Do you want to have a third fight with somebody? Well, that's a different story. But it's not a trilogy, you know, and I'll refuse to accept that is, because even if he was to get beat, he's still up 2-1. You know, he still won 2 fights in a row. So, I mean, there's so much money involved that people now it's difficult to walk away from certain fights. And of course, Fury's going to say he wants that fight because that's the money fight for him. I mean, it's either going to be him. I'm not sure what interest is still in the UK for a Joshua fight. But, you know, it's all about the money fights. I think that's the key factor here, when it should be about who has won, and Usyk has won twice, and that should be the chapter closed on that story.
Oleksandr has completed boxing, done so much in the cruiserweight division and the heavyweight division. When you first linked up with Oleksandr, did you realise you were around a special fighter who would go on to achieve what he has? I know it's almost hard to envisage such achievements, but did you know this guy would go on to do something special?
Yeah, I think we can all say he was going to do something special. Same like with Lomachenko. You just knew because of the amateur background, what they had done, the guys they had fought and beaten in the amateurs. So you knew you were looking at somebody special, and how quick their ascension to the top was as well, that they were ready to take on major fights while only having, I mean, look at how many fights he has. You know, it's crazy what he's conquered in that time. Right now, for the amount of fights he had, you'd be moving a guy into a main event right now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's pretty obvious. I don't think I'm making a great prediction and say, yeah, you knew it was coming. This was a special guy.
And last one, Russ, and I'll let you go. What happens on Saturday night? What's your final prediction?
Look, I mean, I think what you're going to see from Usyk is what you always see from Usyk. You know, that great engine. You know, that work rate. The same thing he's done that's brought him success in the cruiserweight and the heavyweight division. I think you're going to see him working. I think he's going to be wary of the power that Dubois holds. I think we're going to be seeing a Dubois that's going to be coming out, like you said, full of confidence. But I think as the fight wears on, you know, that work rate of Usyk could be the thing that's the deciding factor, as it's been so often in fights for him down the road.
Russ, as I say, very grateful for the time. Enjoy the rest of the week in London, and thanks for speaking to Boxing News.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.